Hello everyone. So I haven't posted a video since the last video I posted because I have not had any time alone since then. I love my family, but I've got 5 kids now. There's no such thing as privacy anymore. Like, there is no privacy. So this is the first time I've been alone, like, by myself in a while. And I've had this thing floating around in my head that's been kind of just churning back there. And so I wanted to talk about it a little bit because, I don't know, because it's food for thought for me. So I don't know if you've heard it. I hear it every once in a while, that whole phrase. And it seems like such a cliche in the community, whatever the hell the community is these days. The rainbow flag, alphabet soup, whatever, that community. You know, coming out is a lifelong process. And I've heard it before, and it just seems so cliched. But just because it's cliched, that doesn't mean it's not true. And it is kind of true. Like, I remember when I came out to my family when I was in high school as a bisexual, and they didn't believe me. They told me it was a phase, whatever. I remember when I married my husband, like, on my wedding day, like, after the ceremony, my mom calls me up out of the blue, and I answer my phone like, we just got out of the wedding ceremony. What is this? See, I always knew you weren't bisexual. And I'm on the phone like, Mom, you do realize there's a difference between bisexual and lesbian, right? Like, not the same thing. Whatever. Like, bisexual erasure probably is a real thing, and I'm not complaining. I've just accepted that's a fact. Like, there's the gay community, and then there's me over here, and I'm just doing my thing. Whatever. And that's kind of how I've approached it. When I started working in strip clubs, I was like 21, and I was very openly bisexual, and I encountered this small community of gold star lesbians who were very convinced that I was going through a phase and seeking attention because stripper, obviously all we want is just attention. Attention, just give attention to me. Pay attention to me. Me, here, right here. And so, like, they weren't going to date me, and, I mean, some of them were quite beautiful, but, again, they weren't interested because I wasn't a fellow gold star lesbian, and I had a life to live. Like, if you're not going to date me, there's an entire strip club full of men who are going to date me. I'll just pick one of them. Like, I'm going the path of least resistance. And so I didn't worry about it that much. Like, there was one who was extremely attractive, and she was not interested and made it very abundantly clear to everyone in her vicinity that she was not interested in me. Fine. I found a dude. He had a dick, but he liked me. So there. That's the wonderful thing about being bisexual. You're invisible to most of the community, but you have a much wider dating pool. So I kind of just stopped worrying about it. Then I got married to a man, and it was like, okay, well, who cares if I'm bi or not? Like, my dating pool has narrowed down to one individual. Who are you sleeping with tonight? That guy. Who are you sleeping with tomorrow night? That guy. Who are you sleeping with next week? That guy. Always. Next year. That guy. It takes a lot of the ambiguity out of my romantic life. Which, I mean, that's cool. The unpredictability is gone as well. Some would say the mystery and the adventure and the spontaneity, but sometimes it's nice to know that you're going to have somebody sleep with next week or next year or, next decade. I call it a win. Anyway, at that point, it's not nearly as important to let the world know that you're bisexual. Now, if you enter into a pocket of people and discover that they're all LGBTQIA, LMNOP, yeah, then, hey, yeah, me too. Cool. Yay. All right. Something we have in common. I also spent 2 years studying Latin. So, like, do you like Latin? Because I like Latin, and yeah, Latin nerds unite, right? Apart from that, like, it's not something I need to, come out about. And I don't talk about it all that much because I'm like a goldfish. Whatever's bright and shiny at the moment, that's what I'm talking about, and that's what I'm thinking about. But it doesn't mean that other stuff isn't going on in my life. I'm just focused on the bright shiny thing because, either goldfish brain or ADHD, one of those two. And that's cool. That's my life. But I also realize that, like, I see celebrities, and it's a lot of the celebrities. They're doing that thing where a bunch of celebrities, have you been watching this, where celebrities are like coming out as trans, and then they have the new pronouns, and then over time they start walking it back to, well, just they them, or they start out with the they them, but then they walk it back to, I've just gotten tired of reminding everybody to call me they them, so now I'm just going to go by she. And is anybody else noticing that with all these celebrities who are like suddenly trans, but now they're kind of slowly walking it back a little bit? Like, well, it just got so inconvenient to remind everybody that my pronoun is they or them or whatever. Maybe it's just me. I've been watching this. I've been watching this for years. And I never came out and told anybody I have pronouns. Like, I even made a video about not coming out with a specific set of preferred pronouns. Like, that's just not my style. But, I mean, I'm noticing it. That thing where people, they come out as non-binary or whatever, and then over time they start just kind of walking it back. And I have goldfish brain, like serious goldfish brain. So I'm constantly like, oh, this is interesting, I want to make videos about this. And oh, this is interesting, I want to make videos about this. And so, I mean, I'm not going to be making videos about transgender issues forever. I've got other things going on in my life, and I've got other interests, and I'm probably going to make videos about those, and, goldfish brain, ADHD, what have you. Just because I'm not talking about it doesn't mean that it just magically poof went away. And I feel like I kind of need to come out and say that because I just had a baby. I did a very biological female thing. And I think, actually, I even got one comment to the effect, I think, that, I'd just be a normal woman afterwards. Like, oh, once you have a baby, you're just going to go straight into, like, mom mode and be totally female and feminine. I've had 5 kids. This is number 5. I've been pregnant 8 times. It doesn't just magically poof go away. Like, that part of me, like, I wasn't doing it for attention. I know there forever, ever, until the day I die, and after I die, there are going to be people who are going to think that I only talked about it for attention. I was not doing it for attention. There are going to be people who believe that I'm delusional or crazy or mentally unwell or I don't know, chasing a fad or just like brainwashed by a social contagion or whatever. People are going to be thinking that long after I'm dead. Like, anybody who thinks about me, they're going to be thinking that, right? Whatever. I don't think that's what it is. I think this was an issue for me before it got popular. It was an issue for me before it was a social contagion. It was an issue for me before I even knew what it was. And I talked about it because I was confused as hell by it. And there was no information available. It's called autoandrophilia. I've made plenty of videos about it. I'm not non-binary. I'll be perfectly honest with you guys. After all the reading I've done, after all the research I've done, after listening to the arguments back and forth, I don't believe that non-binary is really a thing. I think there are people who might have autoandrophilia or autogynephilia, and they might think that they're non-binary, or they might be trying to use the term non-binary to describe what they're experiencing, which is, autoandrophilia or autogynephilia. And they don't have better terminology to use, so it must be non-binary, right? I would have made that assumption. But I don't think non-binary itself is a thing. I'm very sorry. I know there are a lot of people who are non-binary who've been very pleasant and very nice, who've commented on my videos, and I'm not saying you're bad people, and I'm not trying to say that you're delusional or crazy or whatever. I don't think that it's a thing. I think there's a lot of other things going on that are being lumped into this category that we're calling non-binary, but I don't think non-binary is an accurate description of what's happening, and I don't think that it's helping anyone to clearly discern what's going on in their lives. So it's kind of a nonsense term. It's not helpful, it's not useful, and it's unnecessarily confusing in an already confusing situation. I am not non-binary. I'm an autoandrophile. It's a different thing. I am not queer. I'm just an autoandrophile. I've had people who've suggested to me that, and I was thinking about this in the shower today, hooray for me for taking a shower today, new mom. It's always one of those tricky things, how am I going to squeeze this into my day? I got it in. It was nice. I was taking my shower, and I'm washing my hair, and I'm thinking to myself, I've had people suggest to me that autoandrophilia was the causative element in my bisexuality. The reason I'm bisexual is because I'm an autoandrophile, and at the time I was like, no, because I'm pretty sure I'm genuinely bisexual. I've had enough women in my life that I've been attracted to, that I've had these feelings for, pretty strong, pretty deep, pretty intense feelings. I'm pretty sure that I'm genuinely bisexual, right? And then it just occurred to me in the shower, being an autoandrophile doesn't delegitimize bisexuality. It doesn't make you somehow less bisexual if you're a bisexual as a result of innate autoandrophilia. It doesn't. Are you still feeling the feelings? Are you still attracted to that person? Are you still going through that whole sexual, psychological process? Yeah, it doesn't make it stop being real just because it happens to be rooted in an autoandrophilic sexual tendency. So I'm taking a shower and I'm washing my hair and I'm thinking to myself, yes, your sexuality is valid. And it's seriously, it took me this long to get to that point. I never said I was smart, by the way. I never said I was smart, and I definitely never said I was fast. It's never going away, and I knew that. And I made a video about it because I knew it's never going away. But I'm probably going to end up talking about other things because Goldfish brain, and I'll find something else that's interesting. Particularly, human sexuality is this vast, amazing field of interesting stuff. And I might find something that's interesting and I might start talking about it. And, months, years, decades may go by before I mention the autoandrophilia thing because there's so much other stuff going on in my life. And I feel like I have to come out and say, hey, just because I'm not talking about it doesn't mean that it just went away. Because it didn't just go away. I've just got other stuff going on in my life. Autoandrophilia, it's kind of a sexual thing, right? I just had a baby. Am I having wild sexual fantasies right now? I am so not in that place, headspace-wise. I'm just not there. But yeah, there's a part of me that's looking at it and it's I had this person who was trying to troll my channel at one point. And they were like, you talk about this gender stuff because your life is boring and you're a boring person and this is the only thing that you can think of to make yourself interesting. I get that accusation, only from people who are trying to troll me. So far, I don't think anyone's seriously made that accusation against me. But, people try to troll, right? And people probably find this channel and assume that's what's going on. And I understand how people make that assumption, particularly people who just aren't well versed in any of these issues. But there is that weird line you have to walk between, do I keep bringing it up like, hey, autoandrophile over here. No, it didn't just magically go away because it stopped being popular, or because I just didn't have the energy to keep pretending that that was a thing, or because of like reasons. Do I keep just coming out forever? Autoandrophile. Autoandrophile. Hey, by the way, in case you didn't know, autoandrophile. Or do I just, like, keep living my life and let everyone forget? Because I'm perfectly okay with just living my life and letting everyone forget. Like, that's cool. But I should probably mention, because I do see, like, people coming out and then walking it back. Just because I'm talking about other stuff, like, that doesn't mean it went away. It just meant that my goldfish brain, like, found something shiny and went off to that. It's never going away. It's never going away. This is a piece of who I am. It's not my entire personality. It's not the only thing going on in my life to make me interesting. It's clearly not, but it's never going away. And so, like, do I ever bring it up again? I mean, I might not bring it up again. I might just get busy with other stuff. Does it weigh kind of heavy on me? Yeah, actually it does. I have some friends, like, I live in the South now. At this point in my life, I live in the South. And I didn't grow up in the South. I have some friends who did grow up locally. And they're wonderful people, like two in particular. Maybe the third a little bit too, but two in particular that I'm thinking of had a lot of struggles when it comes to their sexuality, their sexual orientation. And I think it's because we're in the South, Bible Belt. There wasn't a lot of acceptance for their sexual orientations. And so they had these struggles that just blew my mind. When I was growing up, where I was growing at, so the time and the place that I was growing up in, like, being gay was such a non-issue. It was such a non-issue. And I see these people in my life who are friends of mine who did not have that experience of, yeah, I'm bi, whatever. They didn't have that. They didn't have that at all. And it's like, okay, I'm looking at their lives, I'm looking at their struggles, and I wanted to write a novel about a gay protagonist, like a novel with a gay protagonist, main character, who was an ordinary person. Like, one of the things that pisses me off to no end about the gay community and a lot of gay literature and gay fiction, movies, TV shows, what have you, is that so many gay characters are Mary Sues. And I hate that. Because they're not characters then. They're these cookie cutter Mary Sue. The only thing about me as a character is that I'm gay. I'm the token gay character. And I need to look up the term tokenization because I'm not particularly familiar with it, but it's like they're not good characters at all. They're not well written at all. I want to write, because I write novels as a hobby. They're not like novels that I've published yet because, quite honestly, I've been too busy making babies. It's been kind of a very time-consuming endeavor. But I wanted to write a novel with a gay protagonist who was just a person, not a Mary Sue, not a superhero, not just let's talk about me being gay 24/7 all the time, but just, just a person. And I thought, how am I going to do that? And so I was thinking about it, like, how do you when you write a novel, you have to, do world creation, world building, and how do you build a world where a person's just gay, but it's not this huge, all-consuming issue in their life? And so that got me on the whole reading up on Yoy and reading up on how women write gay men versus how gay men write gay men. And, ooh, honey. It's okay. I'm right here. And, it definitely exposed me to more of the yoy to trans pipeline than I ever wanted to familiarize myself with at all. And, it was all just world building research, and it's like, I want to write this story for my friends who didn't just grow up in a world where it was fine to be gay. Like, I want to give that to them and to all the other people who didn't get the opportunity to grow up in a world where it's like, oh, okay, you're gay. Okay, cool, whatever. That world. Because I'm meeting people, here in the Bible Belt who didn't grow up in that world. And I want to build a world like that for them, even if it's only in a fantasy story. And the roadblock I keep coming across is, if you're an autoandrophile, it adds this extra layer of, are you doing this to get your rocks off? And it's like, I don't know if I personally want to deal with that. And I wish I could run away from that entire question. Like, can't I write a novel just to write a novel? I don't want a novel to be a secret masturbation piece or anything like that. It's a story. The story it's there for its own sake. Makes my life like 10 times more uncomfortable than it needs to be. Because I still want to write it. Because it's actually like, it's taking shape inside my head, and I like the characters, and I like who they are, and I like their lives, and I want to build this story. But I'm an autoandrophile. I could just be like, oh, yeah, no, I'm going to walk it back, and it was all just a bid for attention, right? Except it wasn't. It's still there. It's never going away. Awkward, isn't it? Inconvenient, isn't it? That's when you know it's real, when it's fucking inconvenient. That's when you know it's real. I might just end up not talking about it again, though. I might end up just dropping the subject, moving on to other things. Yeah, remember that time I made a video or 2 or 12 about autoandrophilia, and that was interesting and whatever, but I'm sure it was just a phase, right? And I'm not going to say it was just a phase because I know better. But other people are going to say it was just a phase. Other people are going to say it was a bid for attention. It was a ploy to get more clicks. Other people are going to say that. And I'm just not sure I give enough of a shit to argue with them. I got other things going on in my life. But for the record, wasn't just a phase. No, it's not going away. Yeah, it's still there. No, I'm not going to waste time and energy coming out every single time I walk into a room. That seems like a horrible inconvenience, and I don't have enough give a damn to do anything like that. So I won't. I'll just let it slip away into forgetfulness of the world. And that's cool. Like, I shared it because I thought if other people are going through what I'm going through, it would be nice if someone gave them a little bit of clarity, and I'm going to talk about it. But if I don't feel like talking about it, then I'm not going to talk about it. If I don't have anything to say, then I won't say anything. And that's where we are. I might just leave it at that. Anyway, it's been a long enough video. I was going to make a short one, but, then I started rambling and ranting about stories and world building and all that good stuff. But I hope you are all in good health, and I will talk to you guys later.